Oui, merci beaucoup. Je suis encore content de vous rencontrer de nouveau parce que je vous ai rencontré dans Global State to Transport et aujourd'hui, c'est de nouveau une chance de vous rencontrer pour vous poser mes deux questions. J'ai deux questions à vous poser. La première, c'est de savoir, parce que moi, j'ai la chance d'être un jeune leader qui a World Vision à mes côtés pour me soutenir et pour donner ma voix par rapport à ce qui se passe dans mon pays et ailleurs. Mais dans d'autres pays et dans d'autres régions, ils n'ont pas les mêmes chances. Alors, quel est votre plan? Quel est votre plan et votre fait, votre action que vous allez devoir pousser pour aider tous ces enfants à avoir la possibilité aussi de s'exprimer et de parler des histoires et des actions et de tout ce qui se passe dans leur pays? Ça, c'était ma première question.
Merci, Jason. Merci beaucoup. Je suis ravie de te revoir et de rediscuter avec toi. Écoute, je vais essayer de répondre à tes deux questions brièvement et directement droit au but. Je vais commencer par la deuxième, parce que c'était une question où effectivement, vivant dans un pays comme le tien, qui est déjà affecté par la guerre et les conflits depuis des années et des années, et avec l'arrivée de la pandémie, ça n'a pas arrangé la situation. Et comme on l'a déjà soulevé, je ne vais pas répéter, prévenir et mettre fin à toutes les violences, qu'elles soient lors des conflits armés, qu'elles surviennent dans le contexte de la maison, dans les communautés, dans les rues, dans les écoles, et bien entendu exacerbées par toute l'insécurité due au conflit armé. Et maintenant, c'est les 2 dernières années avec la pandémie Covid-19 qui a fait qu'effectivement, la violence à l'égard des enfants et particulièrement à la maison, en ligne, dans les communautés, a connu une exacerbation hors norme. Le deuxième point qu'on connaît bien sûr, c'est que la violence aussi a été non seulement elle a impacté beaucoup d'enfants, mais elle a impacté les plus vulnérables, elle a impacté la santé mentale, donc tout ça on le connaît. Qu'est-ce que mon mandat en tant que représentant spécial du secrétaire général des Nations Unies sur la violence à l'égard des enfants, un grand titre comme celui-ci, peut faire réellement pour prévenir et mettre fin à toutes les formes de violence à l'égard des enfants, où qu'ils soient, et quelle que soit la forme de violence. Comme tu le sais, on en a déjà beaucoup parlé, mon mandat, c'est plus un bâtisseur de ponts entre plusieurs acteurs, et particulièrement les agences des Nations Unies qui travaillent sur le terrain, là où tu vis, avec les acteurs de la société civile, avec d'autres acteurs, bien entendu, l'État, bien entendu, et bien sûr les enfants. Et pour faire ça, effectivement, c'est rappeler aux décideurs, rappeler à ceux qui ont le pouvoir de décider que clairement et nettement, on ne peut pas continuer à tolérer toutes les formes de violence. Et que maintenant, ce qui est important, c'est qu'il faut mettre fin à ces violences et on sait comment mettre fin. On le sait. On a beaucoup de belles expériences qui sont faites partout et on sait que ça marche. Alors, pourquoi ça ne marche pas? Il ne suffit pas uniquement de faire des grands engagements politiques, mais comment on les traduit réellement en ressources financières, en ressources humaines pour impacter les enfants là où ils sont et de travailler, si tu veux, sur des services autour de l'enfant. Et ce n'est pas l'enfant qui court après les services, mais des services autour de l'enfant. Que l'enfant puisse reporter quand il est victime de violence et qu'il se sente en sécurité quand il le reporte, quand il a un problème de santé mentale ou de santé physique, il y a accès, que les parents qui sont vulnérables aient accès aux services de santé, de protection sociale et aussi de support et de guidance quand c'est. La justice aussi est importante. Donc tout ça, c'est faisable. Et ce qui est important, c'est que nous tous, UN, vous et les acteurs de la société civile sont en train de pousser que ce soit mis en œuvre. Et ça, c'est capital. Ce n'est pas facile. Il est clair que toutes les formes de violence peuvent être prévenues et qu'aucune forme de violence n'est justifiée. Ça, c'est clair et on doit continuer. Ce n'est pas une chose facile. Et en même temps, utiliser la pandémie et les leçons apprises pour réellement répondre à toutes les urgences, que ce soit dans les conflits ou dans les pandémies. Et ça, c'est capital.
Merci beaucoup.
De rien.
Good evening, everyone, and hi, Philip. Good to see you again. I guess we met last 3 years ago in our online meeting when I came back from Geneva. So it was nice to meet you again here. I am Tula, where I'm working in Bangladesh as a social activist for ending child marriage and also child violence. So my questions to you that UN is working lots of work for well-being for children. So is there any opportunities or option is available for children where children will get the connection to directly talk with the UN committees people or the senior adult person who are working for child rights and child protection? For an example, it can be a yearly meetings where directly people who are in the higher authorities, they will talk with us and they will hear our problems. Will you please tell us about it? Thank you.
It's one of my favorite questions. And the reason is several of us members of the Committee on the Rights of the Child have the same question. How on earth is it that we're not communicating and speaking more with children and having you participate in many of the conversations we have regarding the issues that you are confronted with? I think you have to, well, what happens is that we hear a lot from governments about you. We hear from NGOs about you. But again, that's really, really not enough. So maybe let me answer you on two levels. First, formally, and then informal ways of communicating with us. Formally, you know, in the UN system, from all the way up, from the very top, all the way down, everyone is hollering for mainstreaming of children's rights and increasing child participation. And everybody is saying, well, we have to put children's rights at the heart, at the core of the global agenda, and any new initiative should be analyzed and assessed through the lens of children's rights. How can we do that if we're not communicating with you, listening to you, getting all your perspectives a lot more? And so I'm going to be a little bit mean. All this talk of the common agenda and having young people and children participate more in the structures of the UN, I don't see really many tangible effects or results. Now, Najat, who just is participating in our conversation, she's one of the exceptions, and she's one of the models to follow. So formally, perhaps the best way to reach the committee and other senior adults is to write us, even if, strangely enough, there's a lot of mail that gets lost and we don't receive all of it. The other best way is probably to piggyback on a large NGO. But again, these are not really great solutions. But maybe informally, I think you should dare to write us directly on Twitter or even at my email address or email addresses of committee members. And you could just start your communication by saying, hi, I'm Dola and I'm so many years old. And I'd really like to bring to your attention an issue that really, really bothers me, or I think that you should care about. And I'm wondering if many of my colleagues would refuse to answer or to communicate back. But one thing I really like, and it was mentioned, I think we should meet on a regular basis. We should have many, many informal moments like today when we can just sit down and have an exchange, and perhaps even more like a sort of a round table where we can meet committee members, maybe 2 or 3 of us at a time, and just, you know, this expression in English, we just shoot the breeze and you bring up the issues that you want and we answer informally. And I think that would really go a long way towards building better channels of communication. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, almost you have gave me answer my question. So we hope that inshallah, what you have said that you should sit with us and hear our problems. So we hope that, as you say, that you will sit with us and it will be happen very soon and children will talk with you all directly. So thank you so much, Philippe, again.
Merci beaucoup. Je disais que je suis très content parce qu'on a été ensemble dans les conseils triennal de World Vision. Et ça fait des temps passés, beaucoup se sont déroulés dans le monde. Il y a eu beaucoup de choses partout dans le monde, l'épidémie, et particulièrement chez nous, Ebola est revenu, il y a l'éruption qui est arrivée, il y a l'insécurité qui a repris le coup. Et du coup, je voudrais savoir comment est-ce que vous étiez en train de prévoir les activités qui vont de nouveau exceller dans la participation des enfants comme c'était déjà prévu avant la pandémie, parce que la pandémie a semblé avoir tout bloqué. Et ça a été difficile pour nous, les enfants, de continuer à participer dans les activités qui nous concernent. Alors, je voudrais savoir comment est-ce que vous allez faire après cette pandémie, comment est-ce que vous allez organiser les activités et les enfants puissent être participants. Merci.
Thank you so much for that, Jason. And I'm sorry I won't be able to reply in French. I don't trust my French all that much. I hope it's okay with you if I reply in English. You are so right, Jason. It's amazing how this pandemic changed so many of our daily routines, including the way we engage with each other, but also the way we engage with the people who are making decisions on our behalf, right? And just like you, I'm concerned as well that in so many places around the world, children's voices have been missing from these high-level conversations, the decision-making processes, in a time when it would have been so important to hear from the children because you have been so significantly affected by the side effects of the pandemic, whether we talk about the economic or the educational or the social aftershocks of this pandemic. And I believe that a critical first step for us is to recognize that this voice has been missing and to really continue to create a stronger case for child consultation at all levels. For us in World Vision, this means that we need to be even more intentional in our efforts to ensure that we are talking to children at every level where we work, from our programs in the community, where you are meeting with my colleagues that are working there in the communities with you, but all the way up to the national level and to the international level. And we just have so many examples of how your work is not only relevant for your peers, it's so relevant for us. It's encouraging us, it's empowering us to bring your voices at all levels, to bring your issues at all the levels. And what I want to encourage you, Jason, is to continue to be honest and constructive and bold in the way you are calling on World Vision, not only to hear your voice at the community level, but also to carve space for you in the right conversations with the governments and with the multinational organizations, such as this conversation today, when Najat and Philippe and I have the chance to hear firsthand from you, what are you seeing in the field? Now, it is very true that the travel restrictions are currently here, and probably they will continue to affect the way we are meeting face-to-face with you, the children. So this is why World Vision moved a lot of the children's consultation from the physical meetings, such as the one that you were referring, the triennial council, into this online space. And we will continue to do so by adopting digital solutions, because just hearing from you directly remains so important for us. And we are aware that your generation is far more gifted at engaging online than my generation, for sure. But we are also aware of the fact that there are still too many children out there who have no access to technology and no access to the internet. And we don't want to miss their voices. So the way we are trying to do this, Jason, is by listening from the networks of children that are created at the community level and who have children activists like you, who are able to express not only an individual voice, but the voice of your peers, the voice of your network, making sure that we remain connected to the real issues that are impacting the lives of the children today, and connect it to the solutions that you are proposing. And I want to encourage all of us to continue to do so, because we have to press for maintaining a hard-gained child participation space at all levels, from the local and national to the global conversations.
Another question is to you that we Child Forum in Bangladesh, in last couple of years, we were able to stop more than 800 child marriages in Bangladesh. So my question is to that, how UN can do more support or more help to promote our work or to promote any kind of activities as a social activist who are doing. So can you please answer it?
Yeah, Abdullah, thank you very much for this question, because I think thank you also for the good work that you're doing and stopping all these child marriages, and the courageous work you're doing. I really think that this goes to the heart of defending children's rights, is being able to intervene in real time on the ground and make changes that affect the lives of the young girls and boys that are caught up in this what we call harmful practice. Let me just step back for a second and say something that maybe we don't all realize, is that we've made great strides in reducing child marriages around the world. And if you look at the statistics, child marriages have come down drastically all over the world, especially in Asia, by the way. And of course, having said that, I want to immediately say that any child marriage is one too many. It's dramatic, and it's a child's life that is sacrificed. But I do want to stay on the positive. Now, on the other hand, there's also the fact that the gains that have been made to reducing child marriage have been very fragile and have been affected by the pandemic, the COVID pandemic. And, you know, schools have closed and children have been sent home. And when they're at home, they're more at risk for all kinds of dangers. In a way, school is very protective of many children. And children have been pushed into becoming more economically productive again. And early marriages have also been part of all of this process, not to speak of all the abuse and sexual abuse that many girls and some boys and many boys as well go through. So how to gain more visibility? You know, the cause of child marriage is very visible within the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child. And we work on this every time we meet and on many occasions. We interact with governments on this, and this is an issue that we keep bringing up very forcefully. We've reminded the world with statements that we care very much about these harmful practices. We put out a statement with the Committee Against Discrimination Against Women jointly for the Day of the Girl Child, specifically referencing this issue. But we still need to be reminded, and I think we need to be reminded in the way you told me in your question. There is a lot of hard work that's occurring on the ground. There are young people and children fighting for this cause. It's not over, this battle. Bring us the information. Keep telling us what you're doing. Give us examples of what you're doing. You know, one of my most enduring memories of a child activist, a child defender of children's rights, is a young girl, I think she comes from Guinea, Conakry, who has an NGO, and she actually goes and breaks up marriages and calls in the police in a very courageous way to break this cycle. And I think the more we hear about how activists on the ground have been successful, the more we will feel empowered also to be robust in the way we address governments and bring them to implement the laws that already exist against child marriage and which need a lot more coordinated and forceful action. So, you know, keep up the great work and keep reminding us that there's still a lot more to be done. And you don't have to be polite with us. You can also yell at us to get more work done at our end.
Thank you so much, Philip. So we hope that what kind of inspirational, what kind of vibes you have given us, we will work on it, and what kind of suggestion you give us, we'll try to do it. And inshallah, I will share it with my team so that they can give focus on it. And as you are the member of CRC, so I hope that there in that committee there is a child representative who are working as our voice.
Many thanks, and many thanks, Dola, for your question. I just want to add something regarding your question about UN and regarding also preventing and fighting, early and forced child marriage, and how we can give your visibility to all your initiative and voices. I just want to share with you 2 recent examples. Last week, it was the Inspire Regional Strategy in Southeast Asia and Pacific. And it was, since the beginning, involving children and young people before the conference, months before, and thousands of children and young people were involved. They were master of ceremonies. They were leading the process during the whole week. And it was with the support of UN, but also with civil society reacting, with policymakers. This is really important. Next week, I will be in Niger, and here you have the African Girls Summit, and it's also done involving many girls that are activists, and we are supporting in close cooperation with UN country and regional system, but also civil society system, civil society organization, to have dedicated session, but in the official planning, not, the side event when children are interacting, with policy makers, but also with traditional leaders. I think what we need is to promote more what you are doing, to make sure that it's sustainable, to build network between yourself. This is without instrumentalizing you, because you know better than us what to tell and what to do. And here, to be very frank with you, it's still, we need to do more and more. And please remind us, as Philip was telling, because you are not waiting for adults, you are already doing it. So really remind us, and it's only up to us, to all of us, really as adults, as really part of the decision-making process, to make sure that states are really not only listening to you, but translating, your voices in action, supporting your initiative, but involving you, not only in the design, but in the monitoring, and to make them accountable to you. This is many things that we still need to work on it. Over to you.
Good evening, Dana. Good to see you again here. We have met in Geneva, where we have shared a panel, and during the pandemic, we joined lots of meetings, webinar. So good to see you here again. I hope you're doing well. And as well, I'm Dola, and I'm working in Bangladesh as a child activist. So my question is to you that we child forums or children in Bangladesh are doing lots of work to end child marriage. So what World Vision are thinking to do more on child marriage so that it can be ended and we can make a beautiful world? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dola. And it's always such a pleasure to share even a virtual stage with you. I think we talked about this in a previous meeting, that World Vision is working around the world on different places like Asia and Africa and Middle East to end child marriage, but also to address other forms of violence against children. And what we have seen again and again is that it is so important to work in sync with other actors, whether we're talking about the governments, communities themselves, faith leaders, the civil society, but most importantly, for us is to work with you, the girls and boys, because part of this work has to be based on listening from you. What are the issues that you are seeing, but also what are the solutions that you believe are working in your specific communities? And one way to do this is to maintain this constant direct dialogue with you, boys and girls, because hearing from you is actually giving us the most pragmatic ways to support the work that you are doing, and to make sure that we are working as partners, and we make sure that the timing of our interventions is right as well. That's one thing. The second one is that we believe we need to continue to empower women and girls. And in doing so, what we have seen to be working in many places around the world is when we are intentionally including a gender perspective in programming that is not only in one sector, but is multi-sectoral, right? Let me give you an example. What we have seen is that you can empower women and girls, as Philip was saying earlier, in programs that are targeting increased livelihood for families, especially some of the most vulnerable families. And in those interventions, you are seeing how women and girls are amplifying their voices in their own communities, and they are then becoming much better able to be actors of change in their communities in a way that is not only changing the conversations, but it's also changing the behaviors and the attitudes of their communities towards women and girls. One last example that I would like to mention is from Uganda, where World Vision has been working with your peers, girls and boys, to strengthen the education system, because the education and access to education remains such a critical component in addressing child marriage. And in each of the communities, the intervention can look differently. In some communities, it can be about addressing school-based violence. And in doing so, working with boys and girls to improve the environment in school and to address school-based violence is such an important aspect of that work. Because we know that when girls can safely access education, and their families are seeing that, the risk of child marriage is decreasing significantly. And to summarize, I think I would like to say that we need to continue to partner with you, with the children in every community where World Vision work, to find and implement the best solutions. And you are such an important actor in this effort. Thank you for everything you're doing, Dola.
Thank you so much, Dana, again for being our inspiration and being here our voices, because you guys are the person who always give us support from the back to move forward, to talk with the people, to be a public speaker. So we are grateful to World Vision for giving us such a beautiful place where we can talk, where we can raise our own voices. And as we're talking about the partners, I guess we thought that it's a family, and this family will reduce any kind of violence against our children. So thank you so much again for being with us. We hope that inshallah we will do some kind of great work so that we can make this world more beautiful. And I'm very, very glad that Jason, Nazat, and Philip and Dana is here, who have talked with us and hear our problems, that how we can move forward and what kind of answer we have got. Maybe this will help us to run our work. So thank you so much again. And from hearing you guys, it's always a pleasure for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Najat, Dola, Jason, Philip. This was such a great conversation, and one that is requiring us to continue to hear from each other, to continue to have this type of direct interactions, because we can only find solutions and improve the lives of the children that we are trying to serve by hearing directly from each other, by organizing these types of meetings, not only around major events such as the International Children's Rights Days, but probably on a more regular basis. And I'm grateful for everything that you are doing every single day to make children's lives a little bit better and to see their rights being implemented where it matters most at the community level. Thank you.